First of all, let's take a look and compare this crisis to the two major economic crashes we've had in recent years. The first is the global financial crisis in 2008. You can see the fall here. It was the biggest single-day drop that we experienced in that time for the FTSE 100 was 8.9%. Then there's the pandemic in 2020. Again, a huge fall. Look at that marker there. The biggest single-day decline then was 10.9%. This time, the biggest drop we've had, and you can see that right at the end of that graph, is 5%. But this might not be over yet. Now, if you've got pensions or savings in stocks and shares, well, then this obviously isn't good news. We've had a look at the data, and across three different types of investment, a high-risk pension, a mixed pension, and a safe pension, they're all down. And experts are urging caution.
Making knee-jerk reactions could ultimately inflict longer-term financial harm. So the key is to, as I say, remain calm, seek independent financial advice and make a well-informed decision.
Then there's mortgages. The current Bank of England base rate is 4.5%. But have a look at this. The red line is the forecast for what markets thought would happen to interest rates. They were supposed to come down a bit. The yellow line is the new market projection since the tariffs were introduced by Donald Trump. Markets are now expecting more interest rate cuts than before. Why? Well, economic growth has been slow and these tariffs are likely to make it worse. So an interest rate cut might give us a little boost. But what does this all mean for our living standards? Usually economic growth is a good measure for this, and Oxford Economics have updated their forecasts. Looking into the next year, they've downgraded their economic growth projection from 1.5% to 1%. There is also huge amounts of uncertainty when it comes to inflation and the impact on the job market if businesses start to struggle. So there's still a lot up in the air. And Paul, I suspect this is something that we're going to be talking about potentially for days, weeks, maybe even months and years.
All right, Shehab, thank you very much. And on that note, Robert is here with me. And Robert, of course, you have covered many market crashes in your career. Donald Trump is doubling down tonight. So should we expect this to continue for many days and weeks to come? How far could this all potentially go, do you think?
Well, certainly the risks are of greater falls. And the reason for that is because this is genuinely unlike any of the crashes that I have reported, in a sense, from the front line about. Normally, crashes, go to the dot-com crash, go to the global financial crisis of 2007-8, they're normally caused by the recklessness and the excesses of banks or investors in the run-up to the crash. And normally what you see is world leaders like the American president trying to solve it, trying to bring calm. Now, this is absolutely unique in our lifetimes because it has been caused by the most powerful man in the West, the American president. And it is, some would say, his recklessness that is causing all the damage. And as you say, I watched him in the White House with Prime Minister Netanyahu this evening, and there he was, as you say, doubling down, saying, repeating yet again what many people would say is a fiction, that the rest of the world has been ganging up on America and taking advantage of America. Just remind viewers once again that over the last 15 years, its economic performance has massively outstripped that of Europe and of most developed economies. America as a whole has got massively richer than most of the rest of the world. It's very difficult against that backdrop to argue that somehow the system has been tilted against America. But it is what he fundamentally believes, and he's cooked up this weird formula for proving that he's right. Almost every economist says that formula is absolutely bonkers. Now, what could bring stability? One would be the end of fears of an escalating trade war, but there's no sign of that. With, Donald Trump, as you say, saying he's going to potentially hit even more revenge tariffs on China. And the other thing that could help would be if central banks cut interest rates. Right now, central bankers are implying they've got to see the impact on inflation. I don't think that'll last for long. I do think interest rates are on their way down, and maybe that will at least give us a breather from the mayhem.
All right, Robert, I suspect you'll be talking about this again tomorrow night. Thank you.